Hello everyone and welcome to this product presentation where we'll take a deeper look into the static analysis verification of frame structures using Tremuri. The frame verification tool inside the S.T.A analysis module comes in really handy in two specific cases. Number one is the case where we're presented with structures that have a very high amount of hyperstaticity, which is to say, large amount of elements linked with each other in a hyperstatic way. Or number two is the case where we have a large amount of these elements, such as beams, columns, and footings, that makes it more adequate to analyze the structure as a whole with a global analysis approach instead of a local verification analysis that it's going to analyze these elements in an independent way. To begin with our analysis inside the S.T.A analysis module, first we have to perform a static verification and then go to the results area. Once we click on the results area, we can select a given limit state and then select the static analysis option from the drop-down list. As we see here, new icons are going to appear, and in this case, we are going to click on the icon Verify Frame to access the static verifications window. This window is presented with three drop-down lists. The first one is going to prompt us with the choosing of the alignment where we want to select the elements, then the type of element, and then the subtype of element. The first list is going to filter out all the elements present on that alignment, and if that results on no elements present, of course, the program is going to give us a warning that there are no elements visible with that filter configuration. Using the drop-down lists, I'm going to be able to select the group of elements that I want to perform an analysis on. So I go ahead and select the reinforced concrete beams present in all alignments, and as we see on the left part of the screen, I'm going to see a table with a list of all the elements with that present on that selection and a set of icons that are going to help me in the managing of the calculation of the static verification of these elements. Those icons are going to be the calculation parameters that allow me to change different parameters if I wish to do so. Also, I can modify and edit some of the structural properties of the reinforced concrete beams or some geometrical properties. Also, the calculate button that is going to help me to perform a calculation of the elements that I've selected on the list. Then the display button that allows me to show the results of the calculation, and a filter that allows me to select and filter out different elements according to different parameters or different criteria. And then lastly, a button that allows me to export the reinforcement to the structure environment. This icon is only available for reinforced concrete elements, such as beams, columns, and footings. Once I have selected the element that I want to verify to perform the static verification, I click on the Calculate button. What this is going to do is that it's going to perform a verification of that element with all the forces that result from the static calculation. As we see here, I click on the icon, I wait for a couple of seconds, and the calculation is done successfully. I can go ahead and select on the right side of the screen, I can go ahead and select the reinforcement option, and what it's going to do, it's going to show me a detailed drawing of all the rebars that are used in that verification, in that specific case of verification. Once I finish, I see here that the status of verification of the beam has changed, and now is green because the verification has passed. A red color, it's going to indicate us that the verification is not passed, and when I see the cells in gray, it means that the verification has not been yet performed. If I click on the display button, I can go ahead and open up the allocated window that is going to show me the results for each one of the limit states that I've performed the static verification. Very similar to the local verification environment. I can go ahead and select several elements from the list on the left and click on calculate, and the program is going to calculate several elements all at once. Once I finish, I can go ahead and see the results. In this case, all the elements have passed the verification criteria. Once I finish with the calculation, with the verification, I can go ahead and export the reinforcements to the structure environment. Which this is going to do is it's going to update the rebar definition on the structure environment of the elements that I've just selected. If I click on the icon, I can see that the export is done immediately. Another option to visualize my results is to click on the filters icon that it's going to open up, and we are going to be able to choose between different options, such as if the select and make visible only elements that have passed or not passed the verification, if they have passed the verification on a certain limit state, or according to certain definitions or locations inside the model. Once we're done with the reinforced concrete elements, I'm going to see that I'm going to be able to do the same procedure with steel beams. In this case, given the case that there are steel beams, they're not in the option to export the structural rebars into the structure environment is not going to be available. But I just click on calculate, selecting all the steel beams on the structure, and I can see that all the verifications have been passed. On the results section on the right side of the screen, I can select to show or hide different diagrams, as we see here, such as the stresses or the deflection of the beams. If I click on the parameters window, I'm going to be able to change certain parameters used on the calculation if I wish to do so. If I click on the display icon, I'm going to be able to see a detailed view of the results, very similar again to the local verification environment. If I click on the report icon, I'm going to be able to see a report for all the elements that I've just verified on the static verifications environment inside the S.T.A analysis module. After a couple of seconds, Microsoft Word is going to open up a detailed report of all the elements that I've just verified inside the S.T.A analysis environment. Once we're done with the verification of the elements, I can just go ahead and click OK to close the static verification window. The 3D view is going to be updated with the verification status of each one of the elements that I've just verified just a couple of moments ago. As we see here, the ones on green indicate that the verification has been passed. If there were to be elements with the verification has not been passed, they would be painted in red. And for the ones in very light blue, means that the verification has not been made yet. As I can see, I can rotate the 3D view to get a better glimpse of all the elements. And if I wish to do so, there's a new icon called diagrams that I can just click on it and then click on an element, and a new window is going to open up that is going to show me the detailed diagrams of that element for different combinations and different limit states. As I can see here, I can choose different points on the length of the element, and I can see the detailed values of each one of all those variables in the element. So that's it for our presentation. Thank you so much for your attention, and don't forget to subscribe on our YouTube channel to stay updated on our latest videos and tutorials.